Welcome back to the Black Human Infrastructure channel. Please like, share, and subscribe and help us to grow in our community. Chris Rock is an example of a pick-me white people because his mama taught him not to fight in front of them. Coon Rock, you are so out of touch with regular black people, or else you would have not said that BS in your little comedy show and thought you ate. Who lied to you and your mama that white people are the epitome of any good standard? What a weirdo pick-me thing to say. Chris Rock, born in South Carolina in 1965, then moved to Crown Heights, Brooklyn, New York, was bused to school in predominantly white neighborhoods of Brooklyn, where he endured bullying and beating from white students. As he grew older, the bullying worsened, and Rock's parents pulled him out of James Madison High School. He dropped out of high school altogether, but later earned a GED and worked various jobs at fast food restaurants. Misogynoir. Misogynoir means dislike of, contempt for, or ingrained prejudice against black women. Misogynoir shows how sexism and racism manifest in black women's life to create overlapping forms of oppression. The Philly Mag editor Ernest Owens tweeted, "Misogynoir in comedy is Chris Rock joking that black people don't fight in front of white people while proceeding to call a black woman a bitch in front of white people after being slapped for disrespecting a black woman's hair in front of white people at another event." Per Nadine White from The Independent. Moreover, it's difficult to forget that Rock chuckled away while white comedians used the N-word in front of him in a resurfaced clip in 2018, losing many fans' respect in the process. The conversation between Rock and Louis C.K., Ricky Gervais, and Jerry Seinfeld aired during a TV special on HBO in 2011. So you see, you're full of you-know-what, Chris. Since his early stand-up days in the early 90s, Rock has built his lucrative career making black people, but especially black women, the butt of his disparaging, harmful, and violent-inducing jokes for the entertainment and racist stereotype confirmation held by white people and others with that mindset. And it is about time he is held accountable for choosing to use black women as pawn for profit. Black girls and women suffer abuse at a higher rate in this country, so continuing to humiliate us by ways of comedy only perpetuate the stereotypes and subsequent violence against black women. This is alarming. So why are black men like Chris Rock, Eddie Griffin, I did a video on him last week, feel so free to be an ambassador of hate towards black people? Per Candace McDuffel, all we have to say is we told y'all Chris has a problem with black women. He finally talked about life since being hit by Smith, though his latest jokes were all about Smith's wife. He focused strictly on a black woman for all of his problems, Jada. He's always focused on black women in his comedy, and his bitch-laden life sketch was straight up mean and no different. He knew the nastiness was coming because a few days before, according to New York Post, during his set at the Comedy Cellar in Manhattan, Rock made a joke that some people consider downright wrong. It's not about condoning violence, but words, especially ones that make black women the punchline, should have consequences. Antagonizing black women has always been a part of Rock's approach to comedy. and TikTok users have continuously pointed that out as of recent. Though it's clear a lot of folks still think that the star should be able to joke about whatever he wants, it seems like they're okay with it because he is known for going after black women. It's called denigrating black women for profit. And yes, it is a thing. Per the Roots, Rock made black women the subject of unwarranted scrutiny and critique with his 2009 documentary Good Hair, which oversimplified the impact of white supremacy on black folks overall. Chemical straighteners and wearing hair extension isn't about wanting to be white. It's about us being forced into assimilating because we are routinely punished for wearing our natural hair. All women from various cultures wear weaves and seek long, luxurious hairstyles. He even had the nerve to run his fingers through Oprah Winfrey's hair to see if it was real. And he rightfully received a plethora of backlash for doing that. Per the African history, a tie-on or tie head is a hair covering headdress. In 1786, it was decorated by free enslaved Creole women of African ancestry in Louisiana. The sumptuary law was enacted under the administration of Governor Esteban Rodriguez Miro. The regulation was intended to control the styles in which black women dressed and appeared. Black women's features often attracted male white, French, and Spanish suitors, and their beauty was perceived a threat to white women. The tie-on law was a tactic used to combat the men pursuing and engaging in affairs with black women. Simply put, black women competed too openly with white women by dressing elegantly and possessing noteworthy beauty. Nonetheless, black women did not despair. Instead, they abided by the rules and turned it into fashion. The women use unique colors, jewels, ribbons, and wrapping style, which accentuate their gorgeousness even more. Out of this bore the various head ties seen worn today on women of colors, using unique patterns, materials, and flair. They use madras, a popular fabric amongst slaves and free women, to achieve their head ties. Tie-on law eventually went out of effect in the 1800s, yet black women worldwide continue to use this head wraps as a wardrobe staple, paying homage to their culture, signifying their pride, and looking stunning while doing so. Pick Me Rock is so disrespectful towards black women, took it a step further by showing white supremacy his loyalty by going after the very first black woman first lady. He said that Barack Obama needed a white wife to win the presidency, and that's because she know how to play her position. Black women, he said, on the other hand, would try to play a black man's position. This is especially hurtful knowing the historical relationship between black women and white women. It dates all the way back to slavery and includes them being as abusive to black women as white men were. Per History Story, white women were active and violent participants in the slave market. There were instances in which formerly enslaved people did in fact say that their mistresses either sanctioned acts of sexual violence against them that were perpetuated at the hands of white men, or that they orchestrated instances of sexual violence between two enslaved people that they owned in hopes of producing children from those acts of sexual violence. Jones Rogers said, as adults, white women often tore black women away from their babies so they could nurse the white mistresses' babies instead. To this end, white women placed thousands of advertisements in newspapers looking for enslaved wet nurses to feed their own children and create a huge market for enslaved black women who had recently given birth. Black women and girls experienced disproportionate rates of violence. In 2020, every day in the United States, 4 black women and girls were murdered by their husbands, boyfriend, father, or other men they knew. In 2019, black women accounted for 14% of the female population in the United States, while 28% of the female killed by males in single victim, single offender incidents, where the race of the victims were known, were black. Firearms were the weapon most commonly used by males to murder black women in 2019, 2020, 21, and 22. The systemic racism that permeates the criminal justice system is a barrier that prevents black women from reporting incidents of violence. Dr. Beth Ritchie has termed this the trap of loyalty. What's sad is that a lot of cases aren't taken seriously. It's just another black girl, said Jennifer Redmond, whose 19-year-old daughter, Soraya Jade, was killed last September. Soraya Jade was sitting in Sacramento, California apartment with friends when someone started shooting through the walls and windows. She tried to dodge the bullets but was hit and later died at the hospital. Since her death, Soraya's parents and siblings have fought to keep focus on their loss. They have held marches and passed out flyers and have urged police to keep investigating the case. For them to get recognized, we the parents have to go out there, make the noise, let people know, hey, this is what's going on, pay attention, Redmond told The Guardian. Black women also deserve the right to be vulnerable. Too often we take pride in our resilience, neglecting the beauty in being transparent. To say we're too strong to be victims create this perception that only weak people experience domestic violence. That sentiment is completely false and can stop survivors from disclosing violence out of fear of not being strong enough. Alicia Nichols, LSW, and Christina Jones, JD. Those were their contribution. Black women, stop supporting these celebrities, especially black male celebrities that have no respect for black women. They do not love or support black women. When they make their money, they give it right back to massa by way of supporting massa's women and others. Janice Gassam Assar, the writer of Why Are Jokes Always at the Expense of Black Women? She wrote, America's favorite public sport is berating black women. It has become social currency. There is a long history of black women dishonored, disrespected, denigrated, and degraded, especially within Hollywood. Misogyny and the media go hand in hand. Chris Rock is just the latest person who feel at ease and comfortable to show white people that everybody hates black women. Black women, fight back with your dollars. Educate your daughters and sons to love and respect black women, and respect yourself, black women, and stop supporting these businesses, entertainers, and celebrities that do not like, love, or respect black women.